So it was that moment just 10 years ago that I realized that if I were to drink an entire goblet of my own plasma every single morning, it would be such an act of bravery that it would create ripples throughout the cosmos. That, in and of itself, despite the many health benefits, despite the profound way that it makes me look to others, I decided that the bravery alone was enough, and I've been drinking a full goblet of my own urine ever since. Now, for those of you here curious not just about the plasma journey, which we do have a mini course on at the starseedsavior.com, for those of you who are here for our 6-week journey that is opening up today, the Starseed Savior Academy, I would love to tell you a bit about myself and why I call myself the Starseed Savior, why you might need saving at all, and why I may be the Savior for you. My own spiritual awakening journey began when I was just 4 days old. There I was, in the hospital with my mother, and she had just had a routine checkup. The doctors told her that her breast cancer had returned. And in that moment, her heart was cracked open to a million pieces. Me, being so empathic, feeling so much and being so close to source, still in that moment, at only 4 days old, my ear pressed up against her left breast, listening to her heart rate grow more and more and faster. By the second, I could feel the panic, the cortisol pumping through her veins, and I knew something was terribly wrong. In that moment, I had a download. My first download of my life. Vivid, I can remember it as if it were yesterday, even though it was 33 years ago. That download was, you have the power within you to heal. Now, I'd misinterpreted this at such a young age. I had not yet fine-tuned my abilities to perfectly understand the language of the universe, and so in that misunderstanding, I went to heal my mother. I lifted up my baby neck and looked her in the eyes and said my very first words, channeling my own soul, spirit, source, the universe, through my very being. I spoke, looking her dead in the eyes, and I said, "Mother, you are healed." The doctors came in and they said it was remarkable news. They'd never seen anything like it in their lives. Her breast cancer had spread faster than they'd ever seen, and she died on the table just 2 hours later. Again, this was a misunderstanding of my 4-day-old self, but I learned very quickly, over the next few years, download after download, I used to call them crib sessions. Download after download after download, my body pulsing with light every night with a bottle in my mouth. Now an orphan. I realized that I was not here to heal others. I was here to save them. That I was here to be the Savior. I was here to be the chosen one. Not as dictated by some old book, not as dictated by anyone else, but simply as dictated by myself. I could, within my own very being, make the declaration and see it as true that I indeed was the Starseed Savior. And with that realization and anchoring of those divine downloads in that very moment, I was able to unlock the genetic code hidden deep within our lineage the codes from ancient teachers and masters and esoteric wisdom, I was able to unlock the DNA of Jesus, to unlock the DNA of Buddha, to unlock the DNA of great figures even today, Mike Tyson. My followers will know that we often lose connection. Sometimes the frequency of the vibration of that which I transmit blows out all technology. This is my 4th phone this month, believe it or not. So bear with us while the technology of Earth catches up to the potency of these particular transmissions. Now, moving on, I was able to embody the codes of ancient figures and historical figures and figures even of today, modern greatness, unlocking within my very being, cracking open my very heart, rewriting my very own genetic codes to be able to become the savior that I wish I could have been back then at just 4 days old, but was not yet capable of, perhaps. If she were to have waited just a few more days, I would have been able to get a few more downloads to be able to heal her as though I can today. But that lesson was important, and I've had to have rather hard pills to swallow from the universe over the years that sometimes the world is not ready. Sometimes, even when the master has arrived, the students still are not ready. So there are many of you who I have been unable to help over the years. There have been many of you who have not been ready to hear and to feel the teachings of the potency of the Starseed Savior. But now that you are here, now that you are ready, now that you have allowed me to arise and to come before you, I wish to bestow upon you a very simple message. If you wish to be healed, come with me over this 6-week journey. Come with me through various digital downloads and PDFs and audios and videos. Come with me and I shall take you on a journey of a lifetime. I shall show you what ancient civilizations have shown me. I shall show you the downloads that I've received, the potency so pure that it can hardly be transmitted into written word or vocalized into the English vocabulary. At the starseedsavior.com, you will find the ability to enroll in this course, and it is something that I'm deeply proud of and that these various councils have approved of over the years. It is something that Jesus himself came to me and said, "Jonathan Light, this course is a masterpiece." Call that a testimonial. It's on the website. I really look forward to this journey with you. I look forward to being able to translate the potency and purity of light as I have seen it into words, not so that you can understand them with your mind, not so you can learn the words, but so that you can feel the transmission that I am here to bring about, so that you may feel the transmission of the Starseed Savior. And in the journey of listening to the words that I speak, perhaps you can begin to feel what I have felt. Perhaps you can begin to see what I have seen. I have unlocked the divine potential of many individuals over the years, and it would be my honor over the next 6 weeks through various digital downloads and audios and documents to take you on this journey as well. For only 5 payments of $247.97, you too can be saved at the lower introductory level with our basic fundamental core teachings. I am here to be your Starseed Savior. Thank you so much for tuning into this live. We're going to take some Q&A, but for those of you who wish to click off now and go to the starseedsavior.com, that is again the starseedsavior.com, again one last time, the starseedsavior.com, to join our 6-week journey together, where I will reach my hand through the screen, touch your very heart, feel your very soul, and call out the divinity within you.
Wow.
That was it, guys.
That was pretty good. I gotta say, that was pretty fantastic.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I'm duped, but I'm convinced.
You are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jonathan Light is
Jonah.
a genius. He's a
Yeah.
genius. I've never seen such potency, and I've never seen a video play at 3 frames a second before. That was remarkably bad. A terrible quality playing through the browser like this. Uh, but yes, I agree, Danny. The gold jewelry sold me as well.
Yep.
hmm hmm
Yeah, he's a real one.
He is. So that's a bit of our character introduction so
hmm
far.
We have more.
We do have more. And okay, what's crazy? Let me see. I actually wrote stuff down because we made this, and I was like, man, I feel like there's nothing that we can even say about this. Like, we didn't even really get into ideologies. We didn't really get into like all the things that I wanted to get into. I built a whole ideology for this character already. I kind of understand what he believes, and I think it's better. It's more compelling than what most spiritual teachers are saying. I think it's better, compelling bullshit. So I'm trying to steel man this character. I'm trying to make him as good as possible. And then we ended up not using any of that. And I thought, okay, well, we got nothing. And then I went through and I watched it and I kind of started unpacking it. There's so much in this video. It is nuts. So if you want to watch it at actual, like legitimate 30 frames a second and not 4, if you want to see the actual video, we'll post it up afterwards too. But oh, okay. Do you want to unpack some of this? Is that
Yeah, for
fine?
sure. Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Should we do it in Members Plus, or does that seem
Should we
not
do it in
right?
Members Plus? Let's just unpack it and then we'll transfer over to Members
Okay.
Plus. Let's
Okay.
unpack
Okay.
at least a little bit.
Okay.
So okay, the first thing is subtle power dynamics, displays of value. So first off, there's his clothing. Okay. The clothing says you wouldn't wear this, and that's what I was trying to find. We were there, and I was trying to find a shirt, something that was ridiculous enough that says you wouldn't wear this. And why wouldn't you wear it? Likely because you're not brave enough to wear it. That's really what that shirt says. So it starts out just with the clothing, and it's ridiculous. Then there's the plasma. I don't know if you caught that, but that was a cauldron of his own urine.
Apple cider vinegar.
Yes, so I did actually piss in a cup, and I drank it all night. The plasma says you wouldn't drink this, and that was why we wanted to start with that, right? Because it's like the bravery alone, let alone what other people think of me, but the bravery alone was worth it. So it's the shirt is like you wouldn't wear this, the plasma is you wouldn't drink this, and then the set says it said salt in the air, sand in my hair. That was the
which I was dying.
the sign. The sign says you don't have this beach house, this view, this fancy desk, right? I mean, you could picture like if this was a full-blown window with like the waves behind. It's that kind of feel. That says you don't have this, so you wouldn't wear this, you wouldn't do this, and you don't have this. We're different, and that difference is what makes me successful, and it's proof that you need me. So when most people are constructing these characters, they're thinking about these kind of things. I guess it could be subconscious, but there's power dynamics that are being played, and that's what makes those grooves work. Whether or not they're just modeling it in someone else, going, oh, that's what power looks like, so I'll do it too, which I think is most likely.
Yeah, I think
but
so.
whether or not they're modeling in someone else or they're coming up with it themselves, what it actually does is it says we're different, and this is because we are different. I have something to show you because look, I'm better than you are. What that power dynamic then affords them is a lot. It's actually pretty nuts. All the things that slipped by the first time I watched it, like I mean, it was fucking, I said it, but the first time I watched it back, I was trying to see it as the viewer. Things started to slip by, like when his tech started messing up. You didn't notice because you're watching it at 3 frames a second, but the tech mishaps that actually was that was purposeful. So we put that in there. When he goes, oh, so my followers don't know, or my followers already know this, but you may not, that so I blow out tech because my vibration's too high. He takes little things like that and he makes it about how he is still different and how he is better, and he blows out technology because his vibration's so unbelievably high. Things like that wouldn't slip by if he didn't already establish the power dynamic. If he didn't go, look, I'm different, you wouldn't wear this, you wouldn't drink this, you wouldn't do this, you wouldn't say this, you don't have this. If he didn't already set that up, things like that wouldn't slip by, but they do. And it's just like, oh yeah, I mean, I don't know, I guess that makes sense. It's kind of weird. I've never blown out technology. Is my vibration high? It might make you a little insecure, but it passes by. So the power dynamic affords him a lot. Then those exaggerated experiences where he's 4 days old and he lifts his little baby neck and he speaks and he says, you are healed, looking his mom in the eyes. That might slip by. that might slip by, or you might think like, is that real?
Or you do what I did with Lori Ladd is you're like, oh, he probably means telepathically. Like,
You make kind of excuses.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if you imagine that
Yep.
same experience happening to you, it's either like, wait, well, I guess is that exaggerated, or is that just a lie? And you kind of
Mhm.
think about it. But because there's that power differential,
Yep.
and because he's already established that he's different, it slips by.
Yeah. You're like, oh, maybe he did.
I don't know what this guy is
Mhm.
capable of. I don't know what people like this have. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't wear that. I don't
Mhm.
have that. I mean, maybe they're just really different. I mean, are there babies that have the ability to heal? I mean, maybe they're really close to source. He justified it pretty. So you start thinking stuff like that would never slip by if he was dressed normally, if he was talking normally, if he
Right.
wasn't drinking his piss.
Mhm.
Right. So that's why you need to establish the power dynamic in order to be able to let those things slip by. And that's why it's so easy to get duped with lots of these people, is because
Yep.
they're finding ways to establish power dynamics to separate themselves out,
Yep.
to then hold that power over you. And then it allows you to be manipulated.
Yep. That's good.
So let me see, that was the beginning. And then, so they've paved the way to construct or modify the image you have of them in your mind. So I mean, basically, like, once that power dynamic affords them those convenient meanings and those little things, and they slip by, but all of that lets them, because he set up the power dynamic, and because those things are just slipping by and you're not noticing them and they're not flagging as immediate red flags, that then you're like, oh, this guy's a fucking loser. What is this? This is ridiculous. Those things that slip by start to construct meaning, and they start to construct this character. So the vulnerability, right? Like, the sharing the emotional experience, it's not to be vulnerable, but because it's what the vulnerability affords them. So it gets you to feel a certain
What
way.
was vulnerable? That he shared?
He shared that he was orphaned at just 4 days old, and his mom died. Like, that's a fairly vulnerable experience to be sharing. But it wasn't about him sharing this experience. It was about what it made you feel, specifically to then drive toward the course, or specifically to drive toward,
his mini course. What does he have a mini course?
Yeah, well,
on?
he has a mini course on the plasma.
Mm.
But then he has his 6-week course on it's the
Starseed
Savior Academy. And that's where he takes you by the hand.
Starseedsavior.com.
So the way they speak, the cadence, the rhythm, you can generate the feeling of profound, because you're not thinking, wow, that's profound. They're telling you through the way they're speaking that it's profound. The buzzwords tap into pre-existing marketing messages. So when someone says manifestation, they don't need to tell you what they're talking about. They don't need to inform you. They don't need to market it to you. All they have to do is establish authority, and then they can sell it. And then this is I think one of the main ones, is it's easy to assume. So there's lots of these little points that we can unpack for fucking hours, but it's easy to assume that this is just how people are, that this is like their truest self. But a lot of it is intentionally scripted and externally learned and modeled.
Yep.
And all of the things that are being externally learned and modeled are designed for, like, how do I build an audience on YouTube, or how do I do this thing on Instagram, or how do I build a following? And these are the things that they gravitate towards. Like, well, I exaggerate my character a little bit. You got to be a little bit larger than life on the internet. You got to do these little things. Its core purpose is manipulation. And you could say, well, it's their expression too. Like, that is who he is. But if it didn't work, he wouldn't be that.
Right.
And that's the weirdest thing to
Yes.
start to think about with some of these characters, some of these like weird, exaggerated personalities. If it didn't work, they wouldn't be that. They would be something else. So is it actually an expression of them, or is it a convenient expression that's being utilized to manipulate the viewer, aka you?
Yep.
Like, it's wild to me how much gets set up just in something like that, of the power dynamics. It puts you in your place, and it says, you are the viewer. You need to listen to me because I'm different than you. So much so that when we started this business, we didn't know if it was possible, because this is how you do things.
Yeah.
You construct an image, and we make you feel like shit, and we make you feel like you're incapable. It's actually weird in our industry to go to your real-time personal connection with divinity, tap into your own connection, and then you'll be impenetrable to everyone else.
Yep.
We won't even be able to manipulate you. Nobody will be able to manipulate you. That's our end goal here.
Yep.
it's weird to build a business around that without then manipulating people into doing it.
Yeah.
It is such a fine line because we
Yep.
could even justify to ourselves, oh, well, I mean, we'll just manipulate people to be unmanipulatable. It's like, does that really work? Is that really the way we want to run our business? Is that really the way we want to do things? No.
Right.
So we leave a shit ton of money on the table because we know that we can manipulate people to make them unmanipulatable, but that
Which
it's
defeats
not,
the whole purpose.
it defeats the whole purpose. It's not
not
who we are.
real.
It's not what we stand for. We have to go
Yeah.
against our own morality. We have to lose our own soul. We have to deny our own experience, our own truth, our own moral code, our own connection to divinity. It's not actually worth it. But these people aren't making those calculations. They're not checking in and saying, well, who am I actually here to be? They have an outcome in mind, and they feel the timeline. They feel what's possible. And it's the same thing we were talking about earlier. It's essentially Black Magic 2.0, where you can feel what will work before it does. You reverse engineer it psychically. You pull it back to you and you say, okay, I would need to be this and this and this and this. Let's amplify those pieces of my personality. Let's do this. And even if you don't know how it works, you get back what to do and how it feels. And then you end up manipulating people through subtle power dynamics. You end up finding compelling ways to rationalize away anything that's weird, to give people ways to rationalize that you really are different, really are powerful, really are the guru, really have power over them, and that you can specifically help them, and that it's such a great deal and they need to act now and they're getting in early and it's such a fantastic opportunity. And what are you really selling at the end of the day? What is Jonathan Light even offering?
I don't know. We should take his course.
Maybe we will. Maybe we'll get in there again. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we could buy his course, I'm sure.
Okay, well, we'll buy it. Maybe we'll just review like module 1.
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned.